I don't ever want to get married, and I also never want to have kids, and I'm going to explain to you why, but I want to give you a disclaimer before I start this video. If you are going to comment, well, my marriage isn't like this, well, motherhood isn't like this for me, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a singular fuck. Also, I am a heterosexual woman. I date men, so this is my view on heterosexual marriage. Here before you lesbians come, well, that's not what lesbian marriage is like. Well, I don't know. Anyways, now that I got that out the way, I never want to get married or have kids because to me, being a wife and motherhood are about one thing and one thing only, and it's about ownership. It is about letting other people own you, and I have no interest in that. To me, both of those titles require getting rid of and stripping off a part of your personhood in exchange for love, and I have no interest in that. I think even in the most progressive marriages, we are still talking about belonging to another person, and specifically for the woman, right? Belonging to someone. I think all of my deepest fears when it comes to marriage were perfectly encapsulated and displayed on this week's episode of Love Story. Love Story on FX, if you guys don't know, I already told you about it. It is a mini-series based on the real-life love story of John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, who were married and unfortunately died together in a plane crash. Spoiler alert, sorry if you weren't alive in the 90s and you didn't hear about this. Obviously, they were both very famous because he was the son of a president, and their relationship was very speculated about and talked about a lot, and there was a huge media frenzy surrounding their relationship because it was allegedly very toxic. This episode, he brings her home to meet his extended family, and he wants her to meet the matriarch of their family, who is named Ethel Kennedy, and I'm assuming is his grandmother. There are two main things that happened during this episode that to me should have told her everything she needs to know about this relationship, and she should have ran to the nearest exit and gotten the fuck away from him and his family. The first one is at the dinner table where they are playing this game where essentially Ethel doesn't allow any couples to sit together. She wants everyone to sit separately, right? As a way to make conversation flow is what the argument that is made. The reality is so that everyone feels isolated and alone and no one has a support system. Then she goes around the table grilling them about questions about politics. During the episode, when discussing what happened at that dinner table, John describes it as just like a fun little game. And it's Carolyn's turn to ask a question about politics. It's very specific and a very difficult question, and Carolyn doesn't know the answer about it. She doesn't know enough information about it, and she's the only person at the table who kind of stumbles on her answer and like essentially gives a non-answer. She's obviously mortified about it, and then at nighttime, she's talking to John about it and being like, hey, like, what the fuck was that? Like, why would you not warn me that that's what you guys were going to do at the table? And that's when John says, oh, it was just like a silly little game. Then he goes on to explain that unfortunately, like, the way that Ethel does it is that she asks the easier questions to the people nearest to her, and the further down the table she gets, the harder the questions get, and Carolyn happened to have to pick a seat that was further away from the table. And then she goes to him, hey, you could have warned me about that. Such a telling moment about the dynamic of their relationship because he made it very clear to her that he was going to throw her out to the wolves at any chance that he got, that he was never going to protect her, that he was never going to look out for her. The quote-unquote game that Ethel was playing was not about trying to test people's knowledge as like a fun little game to have conversation flowing at the table. It wasn't even particularly about politics. It was about isolating people and embarrassing them and humiliating them and questioning their intelligence. Carolyn didn't know the answer, and therefore she looked dumber than everyone else in that room, and that was the point, to make her look like an idiot. Ethel is trying to prove to everyone in the room that not only is she the smartest person in the room, but she also has the biggest dick in the room, and everyone is going to fold down and get on their knees to suck it, essentially. That is an emotionally violent atmosphere, and John F. Kennedy for sure knew that his grandmother Ethel was going to do that, and he didn't warn her. He let her go in there blind, and not only did he not warn her, he also showed her no support. A man worth a damn would have stepped up and spoke for her and defended her and been like, hey, don't do this to her, but instead he stayed quiet to appease his family. I should have told her everything she needs to know about how her marriage was going to go. Then the next morning, and this would have been the thing that like set me over the edge. She wakes up kind of late because I guess.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry, man. I wasn't thinking about it.
I mean, sis, are we seriously using a movie to explain why you don't want to get married or why men don't want to marry you? As to why men see you and they look at your mindset and they say, this ain't gonna work. I mean, you lost me once you said, well, you know, as a woman, I don't want to be controlled. And her whole point about marriage is that she's gonna lose the best parts of herself, right? I mean, a covert feminist, I mean, it's good that you start out the video with, oh, well, you know, I'm not talking about you ladies. Oh, well, this and that. And, oh, well, you know, if you mess with the same people, then, you know, I'm not necessarily talking about you. Like, we get it. We get it. Truth be told, I don't even know why you're even worried about what they got to say, because they don't like what you like. They don't like what you like. And truth be told, their relationships aren't normal. It does not matter. So I don't know why you even trying to bring them up. But Once again, this is how they try to set the foundation to go ahead and deliver the speech and make it seem as if they're really not, like they're not a part of the mindset of these type of women. But you really just use the movie to describe why you don't want to get married. And it's like, ma'am, you really showing men why they don't want to deal with you. And this is how women try to cover it up, saying, oh, well, really, I can't get a man. But hey, I'm gonna tell you guys, well, here's a reason why. Because look at the landscape, because I'm gonna lose the best parts of myself. When truth be told, if she actually just used logic, she can actually make an honest argument like everybody else would make. Hey, well, here's a reason why as a woman, I wouldn't want to get married. Not because of a movie, but because, well, as a woman, you know, I mean, truth be told, but I'm over here trying to think about how a woman will respond, but truth be told, they would just make up something. I'm over here trying to have an honest response, right? But once again, women wouldn't have an honest response in this. Prime example, what she's talking about. So I couldn't even freaking tell you, man, why a woman wouldn't benefit from a marriage and why a man should just up and leave. Like, a man shouldn't just up and leave a marriage unless if it doesn't benefit him. But we understand why a marriage will not benefit a man. When you're talking about majority of custody going to the women, majority of alimony going to women, your women being able to alienate men and the court system work with the women. I mean, we got plenty of videos of women who are literally leaving their families, destroying their families. The man didn't do anything wrong, but hey, because, oh, I don't feel fulfilled, I want to go ahead and get a divorce. And a woman is over here asking for her husband's retirement and all of this stuff. And it's just like, bro, but yet you want to sit here and make a video and try to make it seem as if your women are just this damsel in distress. I understand that women are free. Freer than ever, but yet they're on antidepressants at an all-time high. They're initiating divorces at an all-time high. But somehow, some way, this woman say, "Hey, well, I don't want the best parts of myself being taken away." You don't want the toxic parts. You don't want the parts, man, that you were indoctrinated in to be taken away. That's all, and that's okay. But this is where you women start to take antidepressants. This is where you women start hitting the wall, start hitting their 30s, 40s, and saying, "Hey, well, you know what? What happened to all the good men? Well, there is no good men out here. There are a lot of women who are like you, and men are refusing to date that." But let's continue.
There's no like alarm clocks, and she wakes up and everyone's already been up, and she asks for a cup of coffee, and Ethel says, "Hey, the coffee was served at breakfast, and you missed breakfast, and you didn't write your name down on a chalkboard to say what time you wanted breakfast." So she's like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" And Ethel points to a board, and there is a chalkboard that says 6 a.m., that says 7 a.m., and everyone wrote their name on what time they were wanting to take breakfast. John wrote his name at 7. He not only did not tell her about this, right, that she needed to let someone know what time she wanted to eat breakfast, right, and to be woken up at that time, and 2, wrote his name down and didn't write her name. She just kind of had to be hungry all morning. And that kind of oversight would have been the reason why I would have packed my bags, went home, and got as far away from this family and from this man specifically as I possibly could. I say it all the time. It is little gestures like that that will let you know everything you need to know about a man. He is selfish and self-serving and doesn't give a single fuck about you, and he is telling you to your face. And the cherry on top is at the end of this horrible weekend, he decides this is the perfect moment to ask her to be his wife. And her response is, "We've never even had a conversation about marriage before." Because when you decide you're going to marry somebody, before you propose, you have conversations. Yes, I think we would like to get married. In my ideal world, like, in how many years would you like to get married? Okay, well, do you want to have kids? How many kids do you want to have, right? Okay, well, are you religious? Are we going to raise our kids religious? Are we going to raise our kids to go to public school? Are we going to raise our kids to go to private school? We can live anywhere in the entire world. Do you want to live in New York? If you want to live in New York, do you want to live in your place, or do you want to live in my place? Or should we buy a brand new place to share? There are 1,000,001 questions that you ask someone about the way that you'd like to spend the rest of your lives together, to make sure that it aligns before you ask someone to marry you. The only thing that should be a surprise about a proposal should be the fact of when someone's going to do the proposal. But conversations about marriage should have been happening every day leading up to that proposal. You don't surprise someone with a proposal that you've never even spoken about or discussed before. Instead of saying yes, she essentially says no, because she's like, "I can't say no to you right now because I feel unsure." And what she's trying to explain to him is like, what do you see our lives looking like together, right? Like, I'm essentially just a normal person and you are this huge celebrity. How are we possibly going to be able to meet in the middle? She had this clear understanding that being married to him meant stripping so many different parts of her and like saying goodbye to her normal life, saying goodbye to being a normal person, and forever being tied to this man, having her entire identity be to this man. She didn't want to do that. And what she was asking him in return was, hey, I love you and I want to be with you, but I'd like for you to be considerate of me. If no one else in the world, if for the rest of my life, I'm going to be John F. K. Jr.'s wife, right? That's who I'm going to be. I'd like, at least in our relationship and in our dynamic, for you to think of me. If no one else is going to even remember how to properly spell my name in these articles, right? Like, no one even cares that I'm an actual person. I would like for you to remember that I'm an actual person. And he doesn't do that, ever. He tells him, you can be you, but if we're going to be together, I would like for our relationship to stay out of the press. I would like for it not to be reported on, right? I don't want to be part of the spectacle. And there she is, involved in a marriage that is arguably one of the most famous and written about marriages and relationships of all time. So much so that neither of their identities can be talked about without speaking about their marriage and their relationship. She looked him dead in the face and explained to him what all her reservations, all her fears were, and he made each and every single one of them come true. Herself, that the reason why she wasn't saying yes is because her gut was telling her to say no. Her gut was telling her to run. And instead of listening to her gut, she followed her heart, and guess where she ended up? Dead. Had she listened to her gut, she'd still be alive today. To me, that is the most accurate depiction of heterosexual marriage in general.
Man, if you don't sit your goddamn ass pistol grip chin down somewhere.
Grip chin ass.
Once again, guys, imagine if we are sitting here having a civilized conversation, a little debate, and she starts to use a movie as an example as to why she doesn't want to get married, while you're sitting over here using statistics, and when you don't even really have to use that, just use simple logic. Things that we just talked about, explain. You can just simply use that, and she used a goddamn movie. People, this is a state of women today, right? This is our sisterhood. This is how women are moving, right? And it's just, it's sad. And of course, she's from TikTok. So, I mean, like, she got her education from TikTok. So, of course, women back in the day weren't using movies to explain why they don't want to get married. They were probably using real life experiences or actual stats, like 70 to 80% of your women initiating a divorce and taking most of your man's things. Don't sound like slavery to me. And it's just so funny that she talks about proposals as if they don't talk about that already, as if your men and women don't already have these conversations about, hey babe, are you ready for marriage? I mean, but once again, these women use the extreme for men. These women will use the extreme for men, but make excuses for women. And but they get upset when we compare them to children. Once again, she don't want to be stripped of her feminism. So she wants to continue to be like Amanda Seals because they look alike. And she wants to continue to have a feminist-like mindset and just continue to just be used as a cum bucket. Let's just keep it a bean, right? That's all she really is, because truth be told, she's probably going to want to have, so she probably going to knock some boots with some guys, right? I'm telling you right now, no man is truly going to want to be with this. So, right. But I mean, let's make more sense of this. Let's look at this video.
Now, riddle me this. If the story is made up and the characters are made up and none of it is real, which means that there are no real life consequences, the only person in charge of what consequences might happen are you. Why, when you write a love triangle, can't the girl fuck both guys? Do people just hate fun? Like, why can't she fuck both guys? This has been the year of love triangles, and I've been talking about them nonstop because I feel like they're like everywhere in media. And my biggest issue with it, with the exception of Attorney, I think Attorney is the first time in a long time I've seen it done really well, where both options seem like real options, right? Like at any given point in time, I was like, she could be with either or, right? I feel like a good love triangle, I should be biting my nails on that last chapter trying to figure out which one is she going to go with. Like, why do you keep calling it a love triangle? And then I'm opening the book, and in the second chapter, I'm seeing one guy's specific perspective and only seeing his throughout the entire book and never the other guy's. Okay, so I guess we know who she ends up with. Like, I don't get it. Why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep selling to me as a love triangle and there's never a point in time where she's ever even considering the second option? I think at its core, the real problem I'm having is that I feel like romance genre in general should not include any kind of purity culture. There should be no kind of Puritan values. And the idea of allowing the main character to have sex with both guys is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to turn your nose up at that. The idea of like pushing that. And also it's this concept that if she has sex with both guys, at the end, the guy that she chooses couldn't really be the love of her life, right? Because if he was the love of her life, she would have known right away and she wouldn't have had to sleep with other people. Which again, at its core, when you shovel down those layers, that is just purity culture.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Once again, guys, women who have this kind of mindset, now here's the thing, is one thing to think about it, it's another to talk about it, act on it. suggest it. And once again, women who have mindsets like this are pure feminists. And in my opinion, they never can truly be in a real relationship because they will always try to have control. Because women who think they can just sit here and just get dominated by two guys and think that they are the ones who come out as the queen and king of the whole damn thing. Like, no, you don't get no damn cool points or respect for that. Getting freaking ran down on by two guys, you don't get respect for that. But that's what women think. Women sit over here and see other women who somehow, some way have two boyfriends and they all live together and stuff. It's like, but that relationship, it's not even a relationship. I look at that the same way I look at your LG, I ain't even gonna say the full, right? But I look at that the same way I look at that community's relationship. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not normal. It won't work. It won't work. Once again, you're as free as you have ever been, and yet you're taking antidepressants at an all-time high. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And of course, a feminist would say something like that. Now, of course, I need to read books as well. I truthfully need to read books. Y'all know damn well I need to read some damn books. I got to get back into it, but it doesn't make any sense when you have logic and you have common sense and you can use it, but she doesn't want to use it. So, y'all guys let me know down below, man. What do y'all guys think? Give me a huge favor, leave me a like, let me comment, subscribe to the channel. Till the next one.